Houston, say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Hey there folks, welcome to another one of my ramblings, one of my little vlogs. Not been doing these as regularly as I used to, but I really enjoy doing them. It's just finding the time and inclination to crack on with it. And having something to say, of course. It's all very well me rambling away into a camera, but I usually wait until I've got something to talk about. And this time I am interested in talking about, look what arrived. Look what arrived. Wow. Metal Gear Solid The Phantom Pain has arrived. I'm one of these lucky buggers that got it early. It's a bank holiday here in England, so on the Monday, and it was due out on Tuesday, so I think they've shipped them slightly earlier to make sure that they don't let customers down. So I was really lucky and got mine on Thursday night, funnily enough. No, sorry, Friday night. And I've played the opening and it is pretty spectacular. It's a really, really good opening. It throws you right into, I mean, it's just chaos everywhere, but it's really, really good fun. And I've literally done the opening, and just past that there's kind of an area which looks like it's another sort of segment of tutorial to take you through sneaking up on folk and getting the lay of the land, using your binoculars, scoping it out, and tagging the enemies that you're going to take down and all that sort of stuff. I've literally just arrived there, and I stopped simply because I'm still on with The Witcher, which is absolutely, this is an amazing game. It's weird, The Witcher 3. I'm going to come back to Metal Gear Solid actually, but I want to talk about this for a little bit first. The Witcher 3 it threw me a little bit at the beginning because I found it really, really difficult to level up. I think I said in either another vlog or one of my playthroughs, I was finding it really, because what I usually do in RPGs, I usually do the beginning segment of the story, let the world open up, and then just go around hammering side quests and finding all sorts of hidden areas and doing all that sort of stuff. But every time I did that, I mean, it was taking me days to level up once. And I was like, this can't be right. And what this seems to have done, this game, and I found this out at a certain point, and I did say this in my other vlog, I decided to not do the Let's Plays I was doing on the side stuff, and I was going to do them on the story, and I was going to stick to the story for recording on camera and do the Let's Play on that. And the minute I started doing the story, I started leveling up for fun. I mean, it was like every time I finished a story segment, I was leveling up. And now at level 30, well, when I stopped doing, I've recorded, I think, up to 37 episodes. So at this point of recording this, I've probably, I've published about 27 of them maybe for you guys to see. And I've got already recorded up to 37 episodes, which I'll be publishing sort of daily through the week. And that has allowed me to stop doing the story. I'm actually at the very end of the story. I think I am. I got to like a massive monumental moment in the story, and I thought that was the big finale. And it turned out it wasn't the big finale at all. So my Let's Play was like, here's the big finale. About 3 different episodes I'm saying, here's the finale. It wasn't the finale at all. So what the hell do I know? So I am now, I think, at the finale. If it's not the finale, then it's the finale of the finale, and there might be a finale of the finale of the finale, or something like that. So I think I've got to a point where I'm about to do the big ending, and I have, because I've got all those episodes to post up daily for you, it's given me a chance to not do the end yet, and I've gone off wandering to do all the treasure hunts, all the quests, and all the things that I wanted to sort of travel the world and have a look at. I'm not going to do everything, but it has given me an allowance to go back and do that stuff without feeling like I'm not leveling up, because I have noticed that I'm not leveling up anymore because I've gone and done all that stuff. It's weird because you'll do like a Witcher contract and get 3 experience points for it, and then you'll do another one and you'll get 300. It's like, well, I don't understand. There doesn't seem to be much of a balance in them, or it's a monumental jump from like doing a level 21 to a level 31, but 3 to 300 seems to be a bit of an imbalance. So I don't know. Now, having said all of that, I actually think it's really cool that the best way to level up is the story, because I was kind of feeling very disconnected to that world until I hammered the story. And when I hammered the story, I kind of fell in love with a lot of the characters and kind of got to know the world a bit better and what was going on and the wars that were happening and all this sort of stuff. So I'm actually glad that I've done the story now. If I was doing it again, I'd probably just stop slightly before where I am doing the story and go off and do it, because a lot of quests that were available to, well, not a lot, there was a number of side quests that failed because I'd gone past the point of being able to do them. So if I was playing it again, or if you're watching this and I'm giving you advice, I would say the minute it tells you that beyond this point things are going to start failing, maybe turn back in your little boat and or save it there and you know, turn back and go and do loads of other stuff before you carry on. So, and that point was before where I thought it was already the finale, and it's not. So, but it has let me go back and do all of these other things. I mean, it was obviously key quests that linked into the story that were kind of closing themselves off as fails. So, not that disappointing, but in retrospect, I would probably go back and do those before I carried on. So it's been a real journey, this game. I love it. I mean, the way it's broken down, it's really like, I went to do all of the treasure hunts so that I could get all of the really cool Witcher gear. Witcher gear is the best gear you can get in the game, but you have to go and find it. You've got to find treasure maps, and the treasure maps lead you to the gear, and each of those treasure hunts is slightly more difficult. So the first one might be level 10, the second one might be level 20, and so on. And it goes from standard Witcher gear. There's several sets of them. There's like a griffin one, there's a feline one, which is a light armor. The griffin one's medium. There's a wolf one. They're all School of Witchers, so they were like different schools of training, I think, in the Witcher world, where they had different armors. They've got really little cool stories behind them, and you'll see in my Let's Plays, actually, when I stop at episode 27 or so, I'm wearing the original Griffin gear, which I thought was really cool, but I hadn't done anything about hunting for stuff, so I was still wearing gear that was probably for the beginning part of the story, and I was fighting bosses at the end part of the story in it. So I've done pretty well, to be fair. could have ended badly. So I've now got, I think, the superior version of the gear rather than the standard. So it goes from standard to enhanced to superior to mastercrafted, and mastercrafted, I have actually got the schematics and the stuff to do the mastercrafted stuff, but I'm level 32, and in order to wear it, you need to be level 34. So what I'm using 2 superior swords, which are from the Griffin school, I think, and then you've got the feline armor that I'm wearing, which is from the I'm not sure what that school's called now. It'll come back to me. It might be called feline school or cat school, maybe, something like that. So it's starting to sound like Harry Potter. Griffin armor. So that was really cool. Actually, the treasure hunts were the first thing I went back and did. So I really enjoyed doing those. I then went off and did the Witcher contracts, which are like hunting down beasts for people. And at the time of recording this, I have just got these are all the ones I've picked up. The world is ram-packed full of stuff I haven't even gone and looked at. I mean, there's question marks everywhere, there's exclamation marks everywhere, there's loads of quests that I haven't picked up yet, but I'm just trying to clear the ones that I've picked up, and then I'll go and finish the story off so that I can crack on with Metal Gear. So that's where I'm at with it. I have the secondary quests left to do, of which I think I've got about 10 or 15, and they're little side stories of their own. What I love about this game is it doesn't just say go do this, go do that. They are a little bit similar, but you get, at the end of each one, it's a different monster, a different fight, and it does give you a little story to go with it. It's not like just go here and find that. Some of the treasure hunts were, but even when you went into those areas, as they got more difficult, you suddenly come across a beast or a boss that you hadn't, well, not a boss, but just a beast that is slightly more uber than the ones you've seen before. So very, very cool, and you do have to mix it up. I found a good little pattern of taking enemies down without having to worry too much about the potion side of it, which is the only bit that I think what they have appeased the very heavy RPG players that love using potions. I've never been one of them. I don't mind doing a little bit of potion stuff. The way they've done potions in this game is pretty cool because you don't have to keep hunting around too much. Once you've made a potion, you pretty much can remake it by meditating, as long as you've got alcohol and empty bottles and stuff. So you don't find yourself having to go all over the place trying to find stuff too much. I found that, though, when I wanted to make the superior armor and swords, I suddenly needed alchemy stuff in order to finish them, and that got not annoying, but you had to go out your way to sort it out, because you've got to make certain things in order to finish off the armor or swords, as it was I was making. I had to go to certain herbalists, had to check that I had the certain schematics to make things that then made another thing that then made another thing that then went onto the sword. So if you want the really cool stuff at the end, you've got to put a bit of thought into it. But you don't need it. I mean, I had 2 relic swords, which are just old swords I found on the travels that I'd done and the quests that I'd done that were really cool, with 3 rune slots, and I had all sorts in it. You can pick up the schematics for the runes as well, so if you want the greater runes, which are the more uber ones, I've actually got the Witcher swords with 3 5% fire, 5% freeze, 5% armor piercing, I think, on each of them. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that's probably as uber as you're going to get them without having the mastercrafted ones. So yeah, I'm really chuffed with all the kit I've got. I've really enjoyed going around and traveling the world, and there's so many. My favorite place is probably Skellige. Very Skyrim-like, beautiful snowy mountains, green trees, and I love the fact that they've gone for everybody in Skellige. I mean, it's Ireland, basically Skellige. Like, everybody you speak to, beautiful acted Irish accents everywhere, fantastic story inside of it, and to be fair, every area's had a great story, but Skellige was just awesome, and it does remind you a lot of the area of Skyrim, not the world, because everyone's kind of Irish. It doesn't feel like you're walking around speaking to Arnie every 2 minutes. So yeah, what else? I think it's probably about it on The Witcher. I've loved it. And at some point in the future, and I'm not filming it, I will go back and play this game again. I'd probably lose myself for a number of weeks in it. It's an absolute joy, that game. If you've not played it, get into it. My biggest tip to you is try and rattle through the story as best you can. Right at the very beginning, you do have to do a little bit of, do a few quests and stuff. I think once you sort of hit level 5 and 6, the story kind of says, yeah, you're level 6 now, so carry on. Something like that. But try and rattle through the story as best you can, because that's the quickest way you'll level up. And once you get a bit further on with the story, then go and do some of the cool stuff, because the cool stuff outside of the story is not going to give you shit tons of XP. It's just really worth doing for the fun of doing it. So yeah, a joy, and I look forward to finishing it for you and on camera for those of you that are following the Let's Play. I've been posting up little shorts, little PS4 shares. I did another 3 or 4 last night, but they're dead quick to do. I kind of just hit the share button the minute I finish a little quest, crop it in Share Factory, and let it post up while I'm playing away. So they're really cool to do. Obviously, you don't get me rambling on, but that's not always a bad thing. And me shutting up every now and then. Now, there is something else I want to talk about, and this is divide opinion. Why am I buying Destiny: The Taken King? Now, obviously that's not it. It's not out yet. 2 weeks. This is a game that I bought this at launch for the PS4, and I was one of the first to heavily criticise it. We got sold half a game at the beginning of Destiny. There's no doubt about it. And then they sold us 2 chunks of it that were quite clearly already on the bloody disc later on for another 40 quid or whatever it was. So I understand why people have come to put a massive... I mean, I don't like the fact that people use the word hate in gaming. I don't think there's any need to use the word hate in gaming, and I'm guilty of it myself in the past. I understand why people are frustrated. I understand why they hate the fact that they stick massive price tags on DLC, and I understand when people feel let down that the content isn't there at the beginning of a game, and I understand fully why people were pissed off with this game at the very beginning at launch, and it's taken them a long time to get this game to be anything near what it should have been at the beginning. However, I think they now have got the core of a game that we should have had a year ago. And I gave up on this game about a few weeks, I think, after I started playing it, because I played the beta, got to level 20, and then it went into all this business about getting light on your armor and blah. And that's where I kind of got a bit bamboozled, didn't know what I was doing really. It was doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it got really frustrating, so I just went away and I didn't come back to it. Then, as most of you will know who watch my vlogs, or follow my channel, you'll know that I have both Xbox One and PS4. I have friends on the Xbox One who decided to get Destiny because this is a year later or whatever it is. I think it was 8 months later. Decided to get it because it was 15-20 pound, and they said, "Oh yeah, get it for the Xbox and we can all play it together." And purely for the fun of playing with my friends online again, which I hadn't been doing for ages, I thought, fine, it's 15 quid and I'll make sure I buy it second hand so I'm not giving them twice the money. And I fell in love with it again, and I think the reason I fell in love with it again is because all the extra content was there. I had a great team of people to play with. We were having a laugh when we were playing it. I wasn't bothered that we were doing things kind of repetitively because it was just fun to play with my friends again. Play with my friends. Play with me friends. Oh, we're 12. You coming out to play, Steve? So yeah, I was just having a ball playing it. And I didn't even buy the DLC for the PS4 version because I was that pissed off with it. So having got back into it, I started, and one of the friends I play with who's kind of more methodically minded than, than maybe most, it was awesome at finding out stuff and saying this is how this works and this is how that works. And I think part of Destiny's problem is when you're in it, if you don't want to overthink it, you're kind of lost as to what are these points for, where am I going, what am I doing, and it's all a bit too much to think about. However, in our group we have this chappie who he just gets right into all that stuff. He's got his OCD kicks in and he has to know everything and find everything, and so he kind of keeps us tabbed on, go to Azure and buy this week and go to Petra and do this for the Queen. And so he kind of we dive into it and we kind of already get guided as to where we're going, and then we all go to the Prison of Elders, sorry, I can't speak, and which is like a horde mode, and you just and if you complete that and you've got a key to open the big chests at the end, you can get all the legendary gear and all the exotics and stuff like that. So a whole shit ton more that you can just pick up as you go and level up your character better. And that's all before we get the Taken King, which is coming in a couple of weeks' time, which I was adamant I wasn't going to buy up until about 2 weeks ago, because I was like, I don't want to be giving them 40 quid every year. However, when I sat down and calmly thought about it, the amount of game time that I've got from Destiny now outweighs by far any other game that I have. So to sit down and criticise a company and say, no, look, screw you, I'm not giving you £40 a year, is a bit silly when I've spent more time on this game than I have on any other game since probably the new gen's launched. Okay, like the majority of that time has been spent in the last 3 months probably, because of all the DLC, because of all the stuff that should have been there in the first place. And yes, I have paid a bit more to get it, but I only bought the DLC for the Xbox anyway, so it's not like I've forked out money twice. So I don't feel that hard done by, and I'm more than happy to give the Taken King a go, simply from what I'm seeing in the changes. I mean, it's practically another game from what I'm seeing on the Taken King, so far as they are expanding it to, I think the story is about 2/3 the size of the original story, so it's not quite Destiny 2, but it's a pretty massive change. They're changing the way that the light works on the armor. They're bringing the basic level up to 40x. Up to level 40. The way that the light works on the armor and the way that you unlock everything and the way the whole that system works is changing. I mean, there's a multitude of changes happening in the core of it that are going to make it far more exciting to play. They're changing the way that the drops work. They're changing they're adding more strikes. They're adding more. I'm hoping they're adding more Prison of Elders, although I don't know that that's the case yet. Be nice to see more added there. But I've been watching a few of the live streams they've done with the teams and stuff like that, and it just looks like the game that we kind of hoped for at the beginning, funnily enough. But I think to some extent, when you're spending billions of dollars on making a game, the corporates are always going to force you to push out a version of the game as early as possible. Whether that's right, wrong, or indifferent, I guess that's up for people to debate. But for me personally, I believe that I'm about to get in the Taken King, probably a game that I was hoping for a year ago. But that's okay. I mean, this is a 10-year project, this Destiny thing. I'm kind of hoping that they're going to... The only thing that's bugging me about the Taken King is I feel like... I can't criticise it until I see it, but I feel like they were trying to give us a universe, and in the Taken King, they're not even... So far as I know, they're not giving us more planets. They're just giving us this It's this like massive ship that this sort of bad guy's appearing on to come and get his revenge, and it's a whole area in itself. Now, the whole selling of Destiny at the beginning was this universe that we were being given to sort of be in. That doesn't really expand the universe for me. It just keeps me in the same universe, but on a ship. So I'm going to be really interested to see whether that story captures my attention. I'm also going to be really interested to see what people who haven't bought any of the DLC get in Destiny, because on my PlayStation I've got Destiny obviously, but I've never bought any of the DLC for it, so I'll be very interested to see what happens on the PS4. I'll do it just out of curiosity and maybe share a little vlog with you, compared to what I'll end up with on the Xbox, because the core's changing. So I can't imagine they're going to have a different core for the Taken King than they are for Destiny. It has to change for everybody. You can't have as far as I know, online MMOs don't work like that. It has to fundamentally change at the core. So it'd be really interesting to see what day one people get who haven't got any DLC, and how it looks there. So I'll do a little vlog on it and see how we get on. But I thought it'd be interesting just to chat about Destiny, because I do feel like there's still an awful lot of hate out there for it. And I think it's a little bit of a shame because, I mean, Activision have done it to themselves. We know what Activision are like. They've been like this since since Modern Warfare is probably one. I mean, the last big game the last COD game that was my favourite really was Call of Duty 3. Which was a World War II one. Modern Warfare was a bit of a game changer for them, obviously, and that kind of kicked things off big style. But we know what they're like. They sell you a game, and then they're going to ask you for another 40 quid in the year. This is nothing new, and people have been doing it year after year after year. And I'm not surprised that COD's still going and still popular. It's just, and people get pissed off with it every year. They say it's a bunch of shit and they're not going to play it and blah, blah, blah. And it still outsells everything else, pretty much, you know what I mean? So this is not new territory for us. We know that they're going to sell us a game and then ask for 40 quid through the year. And you either accept that or you don't. It's not a Destiny thing. That's just a thing. I mean, the Witcher folk are kind enough to give us free DLC, actually, all the way through the year. Now, maybe that's something Activision can think about. Give us some freebies as well as all the stuff you can ask us for money-wise. Because what CD Projekt Red have done is they give you all these little freebies, and then they say, and if you want the massive expansion, then that's £20 or whatever it is. But people don't hate at them because they're at least going out of their way to give you something for nothing. They're not asking you for everything. I've already downloaded little side quests that are great and they're free. Extra finishing moves, extra this, extra that. There's all sorts of little downloads you can get for. I think they're releasing one a week. And if you give people stuff like that, then they maybe won't hate on you when you ask them for another 20, 40 quid through the year. But that's Activision. They've always been that way. They're never going to change. I don't blame Bungie. Bungie, I mean, they're not, as far as I know, they're not the publisher, are they? It's Activision. Activision are the ones that control the purse strings, and Activision are the ones that are probably forcing them to do it. And to some extent, when you've only got one payday every time you make a game, then I can kind of get why they want to make money through the year. I get it. I understand. It's fine. But you need to do it in a way that people don't feel like they're being ripped off. And at the beginning of Destiny, they sold us half a game, and there's no doubt about it. So I'm hoping with the Taken King, we'll feel like we've got a full game, which is the original game plus all the new stuff that they're throwing in. And it's not just new content, it's a new core. So that's what's exciting me more than anything else. So yeah, really looking forward to playing it. Didn't expect to be buying it. I got it for anyone that's interested. If you go to at Simply Games, they're doing it for £36.85 or thereabouts. That's what I got it for. I originally ordered it on Amazon and it was £44, I think, or something like that. But a lot much cheaper. I'd say myself sort of 10 quid or so. Not quite. Never was good at maths. But yeah, so if you're looking for the best price, the best one I've come across is that at Simply Games, which is they put on it like strictly one copy per customer, so they know how good the price is, and they're not going to let people like bulk buy it and then sell it for profit on eBay. So yeah, so there you go. That's my ramblings. I don't think there's anything else I need to ramble on about at the moment. It's been an honour and a privilege to chat to you today, and I look forward to hearing from you all. If anyone's got anything they want to throw into this conversation, feel free. I always reply to the comments that I get, as long as they're not nasty or hateful or horrible or or I try to anyway. That's the thing. If you do leave a comment and I don't get back to, I do normally give it a thumbs up, but sometimes the YouTube thing's weird. It won't. I mean, it could be your end. It could be you've got a privacy thing on your channel, but sometimes there's a reply option and other times there isn't, so I can't actually reply to your messages. So if I don't reply in Word, I'm just giving you a thumbs up instead. So don't feel like I've ignored you or anything. It's just YouTube doing its thing. So yes, I think I've said this already. It's been an honour and a privilege, and thank you for watching me ramble on, and I shall see you in another vlog soon. Take it easy, bye.